Once again, thank you very much for inviting me. It is a great pleasure to be with all of you here. I have been asked to tell you a little bit of my experience during the genocide in Rwanda, but I thought I had a lot to do, which I had to give up today. I am not just here to tell you my story, because it's not just fun. My message, because whenever I talk about my experience, I end up being confused and lose everything. So I would like first to give my message today to this conference, to the world, because April is a month, it's not an easy month for me. April is a month I went through genocide, I lost most of my family. April, that was 1994. April, I lost my husband where he was working for Oxfam in Angola, killed on the road when he was coming from work. And this April, this year, has been depressing because watching what happened 20 years anniversary. And in addition, I got contact with my brother Zani, and I got involved in watching what is going on in Burma, how Rohingyas are being killed like, I don't know what it is, really I can't even explain. They are not treated as human beings. It has taken the UN 20 years to apologize for ignoring what was going on in Rwanda. When, as a genocide survivor, I came to conclusion to forgive all who killed my family, who made me suffer. And now I came to conclusion to forgive international community for leaving Rwanda, for leaving us when they knew what was going to happen, what was going on. But my message today, we are living in a world where we talk about liberal values, but we are not putting them in practice. I want today UN special, British government, USA, America government to stand up. I know they have power to do something to stop Rohingyas being killed, to stop this kind of genocide happening again. Because since I've been watching this, I always been trying to be strong, carry on, with my activity in my organization, PACS, working for forgiveness and reconciliation, but my memory has been disturbed to see what is going on. People are standing up and watch. That's my message. I forgive whoever, but stand up, do something to stop this going on. So coming back to my experience in Rwanda, it was on 31st March when I was living in Kigali, but I decided to go to visit my mother in the south of the country. And by the time I was about to go back to Kigali, the airplane that was carrying Rwanda president was shut down. Radio Rwanda, radio private Eritrean started to call everybody that they must kill Tutsis because they are Tutsis who shot down the airplane. I must let you know, when the genocide happened, in Rwanda, there was a war between Rwanda government, Hutu government, and the Tutsis rebels who were living in Uganda, who left Rwanda in 1959. So the government called on everybody to kill Tutsis, all Tutsis, because they were planning to kill Hutus as well. That time I was with my mother. I stayed in Rwanda because they said no one was allowed to travel and to go anywhere. No one was allowed to go and stay with a friend or relative more than 2 weeks. And people, Hutus and Tutsi, we were just, they were confused. They thought it was militias who came from north, who came to kill southern people. Then Hutus and Tutsi in the south were together, really protecting one another, until on 21st April, President and the other high-ranking position in the government came in the South, encouraged Southern people to stand up and kill Tutsis because they were planning to kill them as well. So on 21st April, I went, my family and my mother and my sister and my brother who were together and the other children, we went in the bush to hide. We had a meeting there, we decided to separate. So we are not going to be killing each other. My brother and I decided to go to Burundi, but it was impossible because everywhere people stayed on barriers every night, all night, and we went through the bushes, but instead of going forward, we went backwards. So we did that about 5 days, but after 5 days, the government encouraged people to go in the bushes and take dogs and hunt people. So my brother and I were found in the bush 5 days after, tired, exhausted, and we were surrounded by about 50 people with machetes, whatever they had. The women and children started beating me up, took my clothes off, held machetes on my neck. My brother was same, but somehow they didn't kill us. Somehow I went to stay hide with people who managed to accept me. And later on, I went to my burgomaster, who was a Hutu of my village, but he had a wife who was Tutsi, and he was a very nice man. I asked him to hide me. He said I couldn't hide you because every time he hid people in his house, the people in high position came and took them out and killed them. He gave me an identity card, said I was a Hutu. I left the village, I went to live in the town. I joined my aunt, who was although I'm a Tutsi, but my mother was a Hutu. So she had a relative who were Hutus. And I stayed with them 2 weeks, then militias came to attack my auntie because she was hiding a crocodile. I left because I had nowhere else to go. That time I left, I was thinking I'm going to look for UN or international aid to see if they can rescue me, but I went, no one I couldn't find. So I decided to go back to my village to be killed. And somehow I ended up in a refugee camp, and where militias used to come every night, take people and kill them. I was taken out by militias. We were about 50 people. They took us in the middle of the night in a big forest where they dug a hole. They lined us there, killing one by one. I was the third at the end of the queue. When the militia who was killing with a full of blood, he looked at me, he held my hand. I said, "What you doing here? I'm here to be killed." He said, "I'm not going to kill you. You are an angel." He put me on side. He killed the rest of people. I was left there, numbed. To be honest, I couldn't believe it. So he decided to take me back. And a couple of weeks later, I went to another camp where I was lucky. I found an organization called Terre des Hommes that's managed to come back in the country to rescue children, and they opened a refugee camp where they were taking children to Burundi. I managed to tell him that if he go to Burundi, he tell Oxfam, I'm still alive. My husband was was in Angola working for 2 months there, but he had come back to look for me, but he couldn't come to Rwanda. So he told my husband in Oxfam that I was rescued from genocide on 26 June 1994. In November, I came back in Rwanda in August 1994 after the RPF took power, to see if I could find my mother or my sister or my brother. I went and I heard that my mother decided to go back home, and Hutu militias came and beat her up, took everything away, and they burned her house. They told her to go and never come back even on her land. And then she was refugeed in her paternal parents, and RPF soldier, when they arrived, they killed her, and my sister who had survived had the wound of machetes, and they killed them. The RPF soldiers, they came, when they took power, they just killed whoever they found. Those who survived. So it was a complicated situation, because when the RPF, the rebels, had the radios as well, calling international community to leave the country, so that they can come to rescue their relatives. Whenever they say, stay where we are coming to help you, Hutus militias increased killing. So I left Rwanda at that time. I recognized that my mother and my sister were killed by the RPF. I went to Angola with my husband. He was working for Oxfam in November 1994. In 1996, he was killed where he was coming from work. He was shot dead with the UN militaries in the car. So that's how I came to live here. But since I came to live here, I met Rwandans. I found we still had differences. I decided to work for forgiveness and reconciliation. So once again, forgiveness is here who never done anything for Rwanda, but I don't want what happened to Rwanda and myself to happen to anybody, especially to Rohingyas tribe today. Thank you very much.